Fourth grade. Let's have your language lesson for today. First of all, some review about poems. I'm going to read two poems to you, and I'm going to see if you can identify these two poems with the proper name for the type of poem. Here's the first one. Silvery snowflake, drifting from the Father's throne, dustings of his feet. What type of poem was that? All right, good guess. It is a haiku. And by the way, the author of this poem is anonymous. We don't know who wrote it. Yes, that was a haiku. See if you can identify this poem. This poem is written by Edward Lear. There was a young lady of Niger who smiled as she rode on a tiger. They turned from the ride with the lady inside and the smile on the face of the tiger. Ooh, what a poem. Yep, you're right, it is a limerick. Did that poem make you smile or did it make you upset? Hopefully that didn't actually happen. What do you call a poem that has two stanzas? Poem that has, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. A poem that has 2 lines per stanza, and both lines usually rhyme. Call that couplet. Here is a couplet that I'm going to read, just for fun. This poem is called The Butterbean Tent. Do you know what butterbeans are? They're a type of vegetable, a type of bean plant. And this bean plant apparently, the butterbeans in this poem apparently grew up on a trellis, and they grew together at the top and made a canopy that the author calls a tent. All through the garden I went, and I walked in under the butterbean tent. The poles leaned up like a good teepee and made a nice little house for me. I had a hard brown clod for a seat, and all outside was a cool green street. A little green worm and a butterfly and a cricket-like thing that could hop went by. Hidden away, there were flocks and flocks of bugs that could go like little clocks. Such a good day it was when I spent a long, long while in the butterbean tent. Written by Elizabeth Maddox Roberts. So that poem takes you to a garden. I like the phrase in the poem where it says, and all outside of the tent was a cool green street. I like being in a garden when it's springtime, late spring, and all the plants are still green, big and bushy. All right, I am still getting some poems from you all. Had one poem come in last night, so I'll wait and see if I have any other poems come in today. And then I'll read those poems to you. So you can enjoy those like I've been enjoying them. Today's lesson is writing and revising a friendly letter. And relax, you don't actually have to write a letter, but you do have to revise a letter. Wonder how many of you write letters regularly to pen pals or friends? When I was your age, I did not like writing letters. I'm not sure why. Probably just because I didn't know exactly what to say. That's still my problem today when I write letters. But you know what? I like to get letters. And that's probably the same for you. Usually everyone likes to get a letter, but some of us don't like writing letters. So the lesson I learned from that is if you like to get them, probably other people like to get them too. And even if you don't like to write letters, the only way someone else is going to have the pleasure of getting a letter is if you write to them. So it comes back to following the golden rule. Well, anyway, let's talk about today's lesson. I'm going to read part of the pink box, starting with the first paragraph. Do you write letters to a pen pal or friend? A friendly letter is like a one-sided conversation. You do all the talking. A friendly letter has 5 parts. And let's review the 5 parts of a friendly letter. You have the heading over here, which is your address and the date. And then you have the greeting, body, closing, and signature. Okay, one thing about writing a letter, one advantage writing has over talking is when you get finished writing your conversation, because that's what a letter is, one-sided conversation. When you get finished writing, you can look back over it and see if what you said was kind. You can think about it and see if it was written in the way that you wanted to say it. If you were telling a story, think about the way you wrote it, and you can maybe find places where you didn't write it as clearly as you wanted to. And so you can change it because it's written. The last paragraph in your pink box, when you are finished writing a letter, you should revise it. And that includes carefully read over what you have written, think about the words you used. Do they say what you were trying to say? You may want to use more specific verbs or add adjectives to give a letter a clearer meaning. This is called revising. Well, not every time you read across something you have to rewrite it or revise it, but it's really, really good to read across what you have written anytime you write something and just look for mistakes. Yesterday morning, I posted a video with the wrong label. Maybe some of you saw there were 2 4th grade math lessons on YouTube, and 5th grade was trying to find their math lesson, and I discovered that I had labeled theirs 4th grade instead of 5th grade. I didn't revise that, or I didn't proofread it, so I had to revise it. So in today's lesson, you are going to be reading a letter in part making some improvements. I'm going to read the letter. This letter was sent from Dayton, Virginia. Dear Alina, hi, I'm in 4th grade. What grade are you in? We have some puppies. They're nice. Is it snowing up there? It isn't down here. The trees are blooming here. Today my class went to a nursing home to sing for some old people. They liked our singing. Some of them couldn't think right anymore. They looked kind of funny. After that, we went to a park to eat lunch and play a little. That was very fun. Please write soon. Your friend, Rose. All right, your language arts book asks you some questions and asks you to revise a few things in that letter. So, yeah, do what it says there. Let's talk about a few other things. Part E in today's lesson tells you to read the poem again, the poem in part D, and decide the best places to pause, then read the poem to your teacher. You'll need to read that to your mom, and she will check and see how well you did, and circle one of the 3 options. Very well, fairly well, or not very well. In part F, you've got a whole list of things to do with those 2 sentences. Underline verb phrases twice. So be on the lookout for separated verbs. Circle the adjectives. What do adjectives answer? What do adjectives tell? Which, whose, how many, what kind. And then you have to box the adverb. What do adverbs tell? How, when, and where. Remember to use your hardware. And then draw an arrow to the word each adjective and adverb modifies. Well, adjectives modify nouns or pronouns, right? Adverbs modify verbs. So keep those straight and give it your best shot. All right, you're getting ready to start spelling section 3. So a whole new list of words, and these words are, at least part of them, are compound words. That is all for today. And we'll see you back for the reading quiz prep.